Ladies and gentlemen, young aspiring professionals, welcome to a special episode of the Twelfth Podcast made exclusively possible in collaboration with Soccerex Europe. In today's episode, we are going to explore the intersection of football and modern-day digital innovations with the director of Target Football, inventor of smart shin pads, Ben Cobbett. Ben, welcome to the Twelfth Podcast.
Thank you, Christoph. Thank you. We're excited to talk football, to talk innovation, technology. Something we're massively passionate about and something we've been really looking forward to chatting with you guys about too. So really excited.
We're really excited too. Ben, can you maybe start by telling us about the origins of Target Football, the story behind the brand? How did it all begin?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's me and my business partner Paul, who I should say we started as friends and obviously are still friends, and it's evolved from discussions about football over the years and how things have changed, and about potentially is there room for originally maybe not even a business venture, maybe it was just about talking training and talking about we have young boys and we have families ourselves, and particularly we have a similar age boys that they're into their football, but are also into their gaming and the whole technology and how that is in their sort of thinking and their mantra as young developing boys growing up. So was there room potentially for something that we could combine a bit of both? And that it really arose from literally just chatting about how football and the whole landscape has changed. And interestingly, as we then develop the brand, and obviously we'll talk about this more, but our whole mantra and our sort of key thing is football training has changed. And my background is more from a scientific perspective. So I have a degree in exercise science and a master's degree in sports performance. So I deal with athletes on a day-to-day basis at various levels, from grassroots up to Premier League elite level. I've worked in the Premier League, so I've kind of seen it firsthand how it's evolving and how things have moved on from working under managers where technology literally was sort of pushed aside and it was a real old school thinking of just running laps around the pitch, and that's how to get fit. You run people into the ground. So my passion from a evidence-based scientific background, and again how Target is developed with my input with that, marries in really well with Paul, who maybe has more of the grassroots perspective, which is invaluable to Target, because it's our whole ethos again is not just about the elite level. It's about junior, up and coming, aspiring players as well. So, Paul works extensively in sort of grassroots too. Combining both of those into how we want to develop Target Football, both with sessions that we run and the technology that we use within the sessions and products that we have coming. We see as massively innovative and dare I say, sort of pioneers in this industry as it continues to progress, really.
When you look at the way startups are created, there's usually a pain that has to be solved. What pain did you guys want to solve when starting Target Football?
Yeah, great question. For us, having young boys that, again, like they love their football, and yes, they want to get out there and play football, but they've also got this side of them that's pulling them towards the gaming side and using technology. And rather than sort of resist that, and taking feedback from not just Paul and I, but the teams of the boys playing and the parents and the coaches there, that we can't quite get little Johnny away from the Xbox or the PlayStation. How can we get him playing more sport? We're going to ban the Xbox unless he does more sport. Well, actually, exactly that, the sort of the pain point of the solution then to the problem there being combining the both. So how can we incentivize a youngster that it's just different now? So for me growing up, I didn't make it as a footballer. I was close. I did what back then was a scholar, a YTS at 16 to 18. But didn't get signed pro. But that was because I wasn't good enough. There's no excuses there. However, had we had some more of the thinking behind what we have now, things potentially would have been different. But kids growing up now have many more distractions and much more sort of influences from social media through to the whole gaming thing again. So rather than go against it, our thinking was actually, can we provide a solution that combines both? And that's really where the smart shin pads were born there, with the gamification side of things, that we can incentivize a child, whether they're from grassroots level or the elite level, because our products are used down the park, with sort of junior, normal sort of traditional grassroots teams up to Premier League teams as well. So it's providing an incentive for them, so they can check their scores, they can compete on leaderboards against their own teammates, players across the world, but just as importantly, compete against themselves. So if one session they cover X amount of distance and they had so many touches of left foot compared to right foot, or their kicking power was X amount, they can then track that on the app, and then they can then, we're trying to improve a new, there's all sorts of features on the app that help to incentivize that by giving like a FIFA card style rating, that each time they do a session that gets recorded onto the app, they can look at the averages and their personal bests. And so the gamification style of combining technology and football again goes back to our whole mantra of football training has changed.
We've mentioned the smart shin pads here quite a few times already. Can you explain to us what it actually is and how it benefits players?
Yeah, this is something that Target Football we're really excited about. So, and it's not to criticize any other products or to compare our products against anything else that's already out there. Some great products from GPS vests to the straps that go on the boot. We feel ours is sort of perfectly placed in the market and potentially looking at different players from grassroots to the elite level. So. For one thing I should say, and again, without criticizing and comparing that, the issue that we've seen and some of the things that I've seen with players that I work with is that the GPS vest that firstly can't be used indoors. So if the erroneous data comes up and they lose signal throughout a session, so the smart shin pads firstly can be used indoors, outdoors, with no issues in terms of losing data because of the signal going down. So that's a key factor straight away. The GPS vest, again, as fantastic as they may be, perhaps lacking in the sort of the technical side of things. So what ours do is in terms of tracking touches on the ball compared left and right foot from balance usage, kicking power, jump height. So it's the extras on top from that, from our perspective, and again combining that gamification element. So there's in total 16 key metrics through from power, speed, endurance, sharp turns. So it's an all-round product that covers a physiological perspective. Again, sprints, distance covered, average distance, through to the more sort of technical data. Which again we're seeing that it's of course being physiologically you're fit, you've got to be powerful, you've got to have your high speed sprints and everything in football, but actually it does matter what you do with those touches too. So from a young up and coming footballer, even getting out in the garden, and some may argue Johan Cruyff or is right footed but could also use his left. Diego Maradona was left footed but could also use his right. Our shin pads will show you the usage between both left foot and right foot as well, which is a key indicator of balance, for example. So kicking power is another one, as a jump height, key components from junior right the way through to adult level 2.
Are there any professional clubs that are currently using the smart shin pads already?
Yes, however, we sign NDAs, so non-disclosure agreements with clubs. So I shouldn't really even make any hints, to be honest, because I'll get told off. But yeah, we deal with clubs from grassroots level, but through to elite level clubs and individual players. But that's not limited just to England or Europe. All over the world, which is exciting for us. And again, I think that from a business side of things as well, how now that when we've learned so much about developing target football and the business, about how we can sell globally. And I should say that Paul and I are genuinely passionate about this, and maybe all business owners would kind of say that as a director of the business. Of course we're passionate about football. Oh, we played football when we were younger, but it's the genuine truth, and that comes through with our whole brand image, which again we're just massively passionate about, and we've dealing with brands all over the world, some of which work well, and some we may get into discussions about collaboration, decide it's not for us just yet. So for us, it's working with like-minded people, talking to guys like you, getting involved in things like Soccerex to meet, hopefully meet, again, teams and brands and companies with like-minded, innovative ideas like us, to really push the whole sort of football scope forward.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to highlight some of the milestones you guys have achieved. So tell me, how has target football evolved since its inception?
Yeah, it's grown, sort of rapidly. I would say that is definitely a key there for us. I mean, Paul and I, we absolutely have a roadmap, and from the very start, obviously a business plan about how we wanted to move target football forwards. Now we started, we wanted to sort of test the concept and test the landscape first. So we very much started locally, running weekly coaching sessions. So Paul and I are qualified coaches too. So we started with that, and we would hire local coaches to run sessions with us too, and that then evolved into holiday camps and sessions from there. So as that then grew, and we saw there was a bit more of a landscape of developing target football as a brand overall, we really started to gain traction online, so Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So much so that we're pretty close now to 100,000 followers, and that accelerated growth for us has been the last several months in particular. Target football as an original concept is about 3 years old now, but the last 12 months is where we've particularly gained traction. And again, I'm not really allowed to mention clubs' names and things, but I mean, some of the clubs that we're dealing with, I think Paul and I would be honest and say, 3 years ago, when it was just that idea and a chat in the gym, to be sitting around the table with some of these brands and companies and teams all over the world, it's massively exciting for us. And again, going back to our whole mantra of football training has changed. That for us, when we get to speak to people and some of the products that we've spoken about. So the Smart Shin Pad, for example, is our first official sort of launch product as such. We have then already prototypes and plans for future products to come. But for us, it's about proving concept first. It's gone a little bit crazy, and we know we're in the right place. We know that football training has changed. We know that data and technology has always been there. It may have started, coming through with, things in the UK like Fitbits and using Strava and apps and things to track data for, again, from people, leisure users in gyms and going for a run around the park and bike rides and things with the family, and how that now has come through. Obviously, it's used in elite level sport. But how can we get the masses to use it from a business perspective? Yes, but also the masses to use it to to make football fun, to make kids engage in sport more, and again combining the both. It's just gone crazy for us. So it's a really exciting place to be in.
Well, that's great to hear. Now, I've been doing some research on your company, and I understand there's other new exciting technology involved other than the smart shin pads. Could you elaborate a bit on the wireless circuit technology and its impact on the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're using products now, with again our weekly sessions through to our holiday camps, and actually combining the smart shin pads in combination with the wireless boards. So the wireless boards are actually used in addition to target football, used by top clubs around the world. Barcelona, Man City, Bayern Munich, to name three. That can be used from an individual basis, So from early stage rehab, so players coming back from injury that are not looking to do sort of contact work, and through to actually more technical and tactical work, to looking at scanning. So the wireless boards, for example, there's I'm going to say 25, 30 even game modes on them, so you can various things that would test a player's scanning awareness, weight of pass, and we can combine these into various drills. That the whole premise behind that being that when a light flashes on a particular board, the player tries to find that particular board and passes on, and you can set various game modes and various sort of timing within that. And the idea is that for the long term is then the shin pads will be syncing up with the wireless boards and technology within that, to provide that sort of gaming experience for centres throughout the world. So again, from a longer term roadmap perspective, this using technology to improve football performance, but trying to make it engaging and trying to make it fun for kids, but all the way through to adults. So there is data out there using our wireless boards that Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, has the top score in one of the game modes. So for young aspiring footballers, having players like that to look up to work against is vital.
We've touched it already. You guys are known for your gamification approach. How does this method help people engage with the sport and improve their skills? You've now mentioned, for example, following up the footsteps of the stars like Cristiano Ronaldo, but is there anything else you guys are utilizing?
In terms of technology?
In terms of gamification technology, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, how the app links up straight away is a massive key factor that maybe some products in the past that haven't utilized. I mean, if you've got kids from when the kids start having phones, 9 or 10 years old, even everything is on an app. Everything is recorded there, and having the access there so they can compare their data with friends, they can compete against themselves. So that readily available access to having data that can improve performance. But again, one thing is clear for us: it's that making it fun, making it engaging for a kid is absolutely vital. And that for us was the biggest factor here, is making products, and again, without saying too much, and products that we've got to come that will enhance this whole technology and embracing technology, because this is, we all know within football now, this is the whole landscape that absolutely has changed. And we still feel that target football is probably quite early on, and actually there's a lot to be done. In America, they'll use data in different ways. In Europe, use data in different ways. But we're at the forefront here in a real exciting place, not just in football, but in sport generally. As the world continues to embrace this and realize how its access is there for everyone. It doesn't, it can be affordable now. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, these were things only used in elite level sport that would be costing thousands of pounds or thousands of euros. It's not the case now. It's becoming readily available for us all.
Let's discuss the ethical framework of target football. What are some core principles you guys prioritize?
Yeah, I mean, for us, again, it was early on for Paul and I when we realised then that maybe target football was going to be more than just an idea, and actually this is going to be something that is at the forefront and could potentially do well in England in terms of its exposure in the UK, but further afield in Europe and around the world. That it was genuinely for us, and again, many companies I'm sure will say the same, but for us, it's we want to be sort of real crystal clear with our ethos and our mantra about inclusion and diversity, and football and sport generally is something that just cuts across, and unifies everybody. We've seen it, and Paul's culture and how that's helped him growing up with meeting people, and that whole, it again just cuts across and dissects through the unification there, and making sure that people are on a level playing field is massive for us. So, and that can be from a race perspective, that can be from a socio-economic perspective, that can be, helping people, and children in particular is something that we've worked a lot with the weekly sessions. And for us, seeing how that can help a child's self-esteem and confidence, sport, and in particular work we're doing at the moment in football is massive. We've aligned with several charities now as well. So the Great Ormond Street Hospital, which is obviously a massive one in London, some charity matches, and one at the end of May the 26th at Selhurst Park, the Crystal Palace Stadium. There's a huge event there, so that's something that we'd fully behind there. So it's important for us to align ourselves with with the right people. It's easy to just stick something on a website and say, oh no, we're all about inclusion and diversity, but following that up with the work that we do and who we align ourselves with, to nearly 100,000 followers online is quite a big reach. So our social media team in the background are really key on, again, who we align with and how we can use that power and that influence to put the right message across. So for us, it's absolutely imperative that it's not about just saying the right things. It's actually about putting the key message out there and standing up for what we believe in is vital for us.
Well, that's super nice to hear. Now, finally, I know you said that you don't really want to expose much yet, but still, I'm going to ask you this question. Can you tell us what's on the horizon for Target Football in the future? Maybe some insights into your future roadmap, and what can your fans expect next?
Yeah, absolutely. So for us here, very much is about, and I've said it a few times on the podcast, is about aligning ourselves with the correct people, and actually, to tell you the truth, we don't definitively know who may come around. So developing brand partnerships globally is a big thing for us. So I mean that it always will start in the UK and Europe and developing that, but globally we absolutely have plans to develop Target Football. Specifically, Christoph, you're not going to get any more information out of me about the products that are coming because they're top secret. And that will evolve as football evolves, and even ideas and concepts that we have that are now actual products. We're well aware that as the smart shin pad develops and the technology updates evolve, that those things may change too. It's a massively exciting space to be in. So getting those products through and getting those out there is important to us, but it's got to be at the right time and making sure that we are, delivering, again, going back to our original sort of mission statement and roadmap of making sure it's the right product at the right time. And again, not from a business perspective, but backing that up, and that comes from Paul's real sort of business expertise and my scientific background that is evidence-based. A product is going to be put out there that is actually going to perform and it's going to do well. So further in the future, what I can tell you is we are developing sort of the Metaverse and the gaming side with rewards portals behind the scenes. We feel that's a huge area, and again, an area that we've spoken to with some huge brands that we also know, without naming names, are ready to sort of step into this space a little bit more. Again, when the market is ready. A huge area in terms of the metaverse and how that things that we're all not really aware of, who would have known 30 years ago, just the basics of the internet, of how that would evolve. So the metaverse, as we know, is coming. In what shape or form, and how that is adapted by football fans in stadiums, with products they buy online, with updates that run on apps and rewards. So, for example, one bit that I can say to you is, as things develop with the smart shin pads, that to incentivize the users to use the pads more, to not only improve their performance, then it'll be linked to 20% off, the New England shirt, a new Predator launch with Adidas, for example. I'm not saying that that's it's set in stone, but those brands, as an example, it might be a guest day with Jude Bellingham to launch the new products, a prize entry to meet Phil Foden, launch the new Nike football boots. So again, plans in the future for that for us is really exciting. So for us, it's very much sort of watch this space. For us, it's getting out there and talking to people, and I suppose that's what Soccerex is all about too, right?
Indeed. It seems the future is very bright for you guys. Ben, thank you very much for coming out on the 12th Podcast.
Our pleasure. Thanks, Christoph.
And thank you all so much for listening. Whether you have just listened Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, please turn on the notification bell so you know when a future episode of the 12th Podcast goes out. And also make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok so you never miss our behind-the-scenes content. Many thanks to Soccerex Europe for making this episode possible. You can still get your tickets to the Amsterdam-based event taking place at the end of this month by going to soccerex.com. Well, that's a wrap up. Until next time, keep kicking.